Yes, people. So in this video, we're going to be discussing experience. It's one part of recruitment, not the only part. We need to bring in other types of players, of course. We vastly lack experience at the level we're playing, which is the most important thing. Like in any job, any situation you're in, when you go into it, whether you're good, whether you have the skills or not, it takes you a while to get used to it, right? And then once you get used to it, every day it becomes easier and easier. That's how it works. Exactly the same in football. Same in the Premier League. The level is, as soon as you get there, the level is, whoa, how do you react? How do you deal with that? The more experience you have, the easier it is to deal with that level up, that step up. So we need them people. We need experience in this team. We massively lack it. It's something we need. And to explain what I mean, before I get into Leeds, I'll talk about West Ham and Spurs. Currently sitting 17th and 16th in the Premier League. They played a few weeks ago and it was a 1-1 result. And I'll go through their squads, and I chose these two because they are specifically just above the relegation zone. So they just survived, meaning this is the standard above relegation that we have to be at from this perspective. We'll get into it. Now, I'll explain what's going on the screen. So for this video, I went through each player in that starting 11. How many Premier League appearances do they have? That's all it is. I want to look. So the team that finished 16th, 17th, how many appearances do they have in the Premier League? And I was looking through West Ham, and it's a lot. So you can tell over there, the players with the numbers, they are the amount of games they've played in the Premier League. And this is a team that finished just above the relegation zone, just to clarify. The ones without the numbers next to them, they don't really have significant numbers of games. Just look at the amount of experience at this level they have. And they've only just stayed up. Again, there's loads of stuff about that. We're looking at specifically the experience part of recruitment. Jared Bowen, 198. Souček, 192. Cresswell, 310. Kilman, 163. 206 for Wan-Bissaka. Almost everyone in that team has a vast amount of experience. Within that start 11, as you can see above me, 1,483 Premier League games between them. And then we look at the bench. And just look at the numbers on their bench. We've got a goalkeeper that doesn't even play, who's got 375 games. Soufal, who we've linked with, 145. He's not even one of their most experienced players. Well, it's probably top 5 or 6. Ward-Prowse on their bench, 405. I saw Leeds fans saying they wouldn't take him. 405. Danny Ings, 240. This is not about quality. This is not necessarily saying these guys they should play for Leeds. I'm not saying that. I'm going through each club and I'm looking at the experience they have. How many, that period of getting used to the Premier League, learning in the Premier League. Do we have people that can take us through that? Do we have people that can understand the level and quickly react to the level? Because you need experience, and this is a team with vast experience, with a decent squad, with relative experienced manager at this level as well, who are struggling. But look how much they have, and they're struggling. Their subs have a total of 1,350 Premier League games. Overall, their entire squad, this match day squad, 2,833 Premier League games between them. They played Spurs. And we'll look at it again. You can see the total there. Now, Spurs' big issue this season, they're the third youngest team in the Premier League. That's been the problem. People have said they've lacked experience. They're all too young. They don't have Premier League experience. Exactly. So you could argue and look at these players on paper and it's a ridiculous team. Very good young talent. They don't have the experience, hence why they finished, 16th? This team should not be finishing 16th. Linked with a manager who is inexperienced at this level, does this not prove that experience is key? Because their starting 11 has Premier League games, not minutes, of 979. Compare that to West Ham, 1,483. 979. And this is a team that were vastly underperforming in the league this year. Not in Europe, because they're not playing in the Prem, remember. Different competition. Look how well they're doing in Europe. Compare that to the Premier League. This is my point. What's the difference? It's the same players. It's the experience. 100%. I fully believe that. And even in there, they've still got players with 190, 242, 312. They're all in there. But they're still struggling because they don't have the experience. They don't have the quality as well. This is about the experience. A team that could do so well in Europe, but terrible in the Prem. What's the main difference? It's the understanding and the experience in the Premier League. But overall, you know, their subs have 471 Premier League games between them. They have an overall games between this squad 1,450. This is a team that in the Europa League final. They're just above the relegation zone in the Premier League. What's the difference? Tell yourself. Let's look at something more realistic. So that's the standard, just above the relegation zone. This is shocking, by the way. Let's look at the team that just didn't, well, the team that finished the highest of the three, right? The minimum standard you've got to be, just below it. Let's look at that. Ipswich. Instantly. And what you've got to remember about a lot of these players, the Lap, Chaplin, and not Enciso really, Hutchinson, Morset, all the defenders apart from O'Shea, this is their first season. So before the season, a lot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7 or 8 zeros in terms of games in the Premier League. That's insane. No wonder they didn't stay up. They had no players that had played there. They had no players that understood the league, didn't understand what was happening. The step up, they couldn't react to it quick enough. It's experience. It's so key. It's not a case in every situation, in every player, in every team, in every league. I'm not saying it is. But for what we need, the way the Premier League looks right now, for me, we need that. It's a big part of it. A huge part of it. So when we're linked with Soufals, when we're linked with James Milners, when we're linked with players like this, they matter because they understand the level. There might be better players than them in the squad, but they need to understand where they're at. Like I said, when you're going to work, it's your first day, you might be better than the worker that's helping you out. They know what they're doing, so they're more efficient, they do it quicker, they understand what the level is. It's the same thing. This team has overall in their squad 703 Premier League games. I'll compare that with a very inexperienced Spurs and a team that just finished above the relegation zone. My point being, we cannot rely just on players who have not played in this level. We also can't rely on players that have just played in the Championship. Ipswich brought a lot of players in the Championship. For example, Greaves, there's a few. Tranzebe obviously came in. Palmer they brought in, just played in the Championship. Hutchinson, Delap on their bench as well. There's a few there. Like, Clark. How many of these players never played in the Prem? How many of them players on the bench had played in the Prem? Consistently. Godfrey, Johnson. That's it. That is it. Clarks are from this season. Hurst are from this season. Never say his name. Good player, by the way. Good player. All from this season. They had none. They had hardly any Premier League experience. No wonder they finished on the points they did. There's so many bridges you've got to gap in the Premier League. Obviously, there's a technical understanding of it. Being a good technical player, important, obviously. Physicality, huge. Mentality, massive. Tactical, even, as a player. You've got to think differently. You've got to think quicker. The social side of it. Pressure. But also, experience. Look at all the successful teams. They have a massive blend of experience, technical ability, physicality, social. For me, Ipswich, although they have some decent players in there, you know, and I like what they've done. They were in games this season. They massively lacked experience for me, and obviously the quality with the money, that's a big part of it. Obviously, I'm not saying it isn't. The experience is massive, and all these players here, a lot of these players, loads of these players had hundreds and hundreds of games in the Championship, hundreds. Fantastic. So when they get relegated, they've got that. None in the Prem, hardly any in the Prem. Probably just O'Shea and then Seesaw a little bit in their entire squad. It's difficult to stay up when you have no one that's played at this level. And then we get on to Leeds. And it's not as bad, but it needs to be, the bridge needs to be gapped a little bit more. The gap needs to be bridged. That's what I'm going to say. Now remember, clarify, these minutes, the 703, are after the Premier League season. You can take almost all that 11 games away because a lot of them came this season. It's very low, very low. Ours this year, without a year in the Premier League, is already higher. So that's good for me. We already have more experienced players in the Premier League than Ipswich did, who just finished, well, they finished quite far in the bottom three, but you know what I mean? But it's still a problem because the gap between 16th and 17th is too big. I'm not expecting us to have 2,000 plus games in the Premier League in our team. I'm not, because that takes years and years of playing in the Prem, obviously. But it's nice to bring an experience to help bridge that gap because it's still too low for me at 724, which it is. Now you look at our squad. Our most experienced players in that 11 are Dan James, Pascal Strout, Caldalo. Our most capped Premier League player, that's played the most games in the Premier League, for not even for us, just generally, because obviously he was at Man United, is Dan James. It's not great. And the fact that you have in there, you have Joe Perot on 0, Tanaka on 0. Look at our midfield 2. Ampadu only has 26. Compare that even to, you know, look at Spurs' midfield, Premier League. 80, 116, 190. 192. People won't take Souček, by the way. I would jump on a heartbeat. 192 games in the Premier League. And go through any Premier League team. And that's what I mean. In order to establish yourself, you get more minutes, obviously. You played in it for years and years. But when they brought these players in, they would have already been players on 200, 300 appearances. We need to bring them in. We don't have any. Our biggest player we've got on here in terms of minutes, in terms of games in the Prem, I keep saying minutes, is Dan James, Neil Meslier on 107. And then Bamford on 102. That's not a lot. At all. That worries me. The lack of experience in there. Also at the back. Pascal's got 85. That's quite a lot. That's pretty good. Jordan has 15. And you've got to ask yourself this as well. As of those players, which one of these guys on here are you confident are good enough to start in the Premier League? It's not many. If we bring in, look, obviously there's a lot of talent we need to go for. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about experience. Who can still be talented? You bring in, and this is just theory, you bring in a Souček and a Milner. You're instantly doubling that by 2 players. You're doubling the experience you have in the entire 20-man squad or whatever it is. Doubling it. And just to clarify, I've took Solomon and Gulavogi and Rothwell out because they're not part of the club anymore. They've gone back to their parent club and Gulavogi's left. They're literally not part of the club, unfortunately. That's my point. You can bring in one guy who's got 300 Premier League appearances or two that have got 150, 200, and then 300, and you're almost doubling what you've already got in your entire squad by 2 people. You're telling me that them people that played at this level for 10 years, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is, years, cannot bring something that we don't have? Of course they can. It's so important to me. Just wanted to show that. I just wanted to break it down because there's a lot of people scoffing at these names. Soufal, not good enough. Good enough to play hundreds of games in the Premier League. 160 odd games. By far more experience than anyone we have. We have Jayden Bogle, who's our main guy. He needs coercing through it. 50 is not bad. It's not 160. Centre back. 15 for Rodon. Vobra on the bench was 16. 85 for Stroud, not bad. He's still a young man. Slightly different. Can you maybe bring in someone with elite, who's played at an elite level in that position? With experience, but not in the Prem, but at elite level. Midfield. Quality midfield. Tanaka. Ampadu. Outstanding. Love it. Tanaka's not played at this level. Ampadu's not played at this level very successfully. Worked great when he first did that. He was very young. Who's on the bench that can be experienced? There isn't one. Ruev's not played in the Premier League. You're telling me a James Milner or a Souček not coming there with their hundreds and hundreds of, 200 for Souček and how many for Milner? Games of experience and the Premier League not impact them too? Come on. And look at our striking position. Bamford, of course, 102. Will he stay? Is he at the level? Don't know. We need experience there for me. Look at our bench. 0, 0, 0, zeros. Not good enough. We can bring in 2 or 3 players with vast experience at this level. It's really important. Yeah, that's all. Just a bit of a weird one. I just want to talk about one part of recruitment, and that's experience. This is not talking about we need to bring some quality. Yeah, of course we need to bring some quality, like some proper young, exciting, or just exciting talents that have been doing well in Europe. Of course we do. But that's not the only thing you need. You need a squad that's experienced to stay at this level because you have to bridge that gap. You're not going to get it all in 1 year. There's free agents out there or people that are extremely cheap who have got over 100, 200 in the Prem. You're bringing them in. And then they can help these inexperienced but talented player players. They can help them through it. They can allow them to express themselves. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate all the support. I'll go through the comments today from the last few videos. But yeah, appreciate everyone. Obviously, you're all legends. And the recruitment, the scouting videos will be coming soon. I'm just waiting. The fact is, I'm still watching. I've not got my lists yet properly done. I haven't. So I've got my number 8 list done. That's it. Working on my winger one. I'm working on my striker one. Centre back one. And then need to do full back because I'm miles off with that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.